stabilité des hanches. And then we're going to put it all together. We're going to get back to the yoga push-ups. Alors, when we do, just to kind of relate things to our combat training, quand on fait habituellement notre our punching or any kind of strike motion, we have what we call the combat stance, which we exaggerate in class because we really want to get to that point where we can learn about the pivot, right? This kind of work is extremely important, and what we want is to be able to learn to allow the pivot to happen, but not at the expense of the support leg, one. Puis on veut s'assurer que ça s'arrête à l'intérieur de soi-même. So we want it to stop within itself, right, when we do that pivot. But I want you to take a moment to feel that pivot and feel what's happening to the hip when you're doing that motion. We're actually screwing out the heel, which provides stability to the hip here. Alors, quand on fait ce pivot-là, super important, ça nous amène la stabilité qu'on a besoin, l'engagement qu'on a besoin pour pouvoir livrer nos différentes frappes. So now we're going to do it on the other side. We usually always do our combat stance on the same side, but for the sake of the exercise, purpose of the exercise, pivots we do on both. So we want to get that sense. Make sure that you're not doing swaying motions with your support leg. You really want to feel like this leg, the support leg, is nice and strong, and that when you're pivoting, there is stability in the hip, right? Alors, c'est exactement la même genre de motion. Puis assurez-vous d'avoir vraiment like a, you really want a screwing motion when we do the pivot. Make it nice and to feel that. Good. Alors, c'est exactement la même chose qu'on fait quand on fait le downward dog, right? So you feel that whatever we're doing, it applies. Alors, on revient au sol, so come back onto the ground. On replace les mains au sol. Alors, un élément que j'ai pas dit, que j'ai pas mentionné tout à l'heure, when we want to have that void underneath the hands, first it gives us greater suction power, greater adhesion to the ground, but also this is how we train for the slap, for the open hand strikes that we do. As soon as we start to have the hands flat completely against the ground, we lose our strength and it goes within our bodies. So we want to avoid that. We want to make sure that we have that void and that there's a looseness to the hand, a relaxation to the hand, but not, of course, at the expense of a slight contraction that we need, right? Alors, it starts here. We train this here. So as you're placing your hands, make sure that you have that in mind as you're placing them. Les coudes toujours légèrement fléchis, so the elbows slightly bent. From this position, we bring the knees underneath the hips, bring them together, and we're going to go back into our downward dog position for this application. Alors, on monte, tailbone towards the ceiling, screwing the knees, the heels, out. Même principe, on s'assure que la tête ou les oreilles sont entre les biceps, so making sure that the head is between the biceps. Feel the adhesion of the hands against the mat. So I find that this position is extremely good to develop that capacity when we do our martial arts training or our combative training. So from this position, we inhale, and as we exhale now, with the shoulder stability that we've been working on, screwing the hands out and bringing the elbows in, we lower the body, and we go into a cobra. So inhale, we come back. Make sure that there's good adhesion with your hands, screwing the elbows in, doing crescents with the elbows. Inhaling back up, screwing the heels out. Make sure that you always have that shoulder stability and that you're not extending the arms out of your shoulder sockets. Alors on s'assure toujours que les humérus sont à l'intérieur de la jointure des épaules, puis que les omoplates sont bien placés. Even that screwing motion that we do at the beginning to stabilize the shoulder blades, to activate those muscles on the sides, the laterals, the serratus, all of those muscles that we're using to stabilize the shoulders, all of that screwing motion that we do, we find all the time in Sistema when we do screwing motions to fall to the ground, or to begin a roll, sideways roll, whether it be for frames. That screwing motion, that three-dimensional motion comes everywhere, making sure that we build elasticity in our bodies, that we build flow, making sure that it's three-dimensional motions, right?